I thought it might be interesting to tell a story about um, running and what it sort of brings to me and what it gives me. A little bit of the story goes back to 2014, December 14th it was, and my story's not entirely new to some, but I thought I'd maybe document it here for the purposes of maybe somebody that might ever think of starting the journey that I went on, or maybe even for my sons and Mary, and to look at one day, not the sort of here I'm dead, have a look back kind of thing. It's just a document the story, and I won't take too long on it. I don't think anyone will have massive interest in it because, as I say, it's an old story now. It went back to December 14th, 2014, which is nearly 4 years ago now, hard to believe. On that very day, um, I heard that my cousin Terence, who was about 50, I suppose, about 14 years older than myself, but I'd seen him a lot in Killyclahar on a bike where he was walking. He wasn't running or nothing like that, but to me he looked pretty active. You knew that he was carrying a few extra pounds, but he was still a very active and healthy and sociable man within the community. That's how I always saw him, in fleeting moments, walking, cycling, taking part in things. And I was just filtering on my life, I wasn't too fussed about change. But anyway, December 14th, that's when I heard that he had a heart attack. And I thank the Lord he survived that heart attack. But there and then, like a fucking jolt to the head, as a great, that's it, mate, it's over. This journey that you're on, it isn't a fucking journey at all. It's over, man. So you're going to have to change your ways. Um, in the years gone by, I noticed that I was getting bigger and bigger anyway. Um, I couldn't have told you when I was last a medium t-shirt or a large t-shirt or an extra large. I remember I'd bought a Bo Dallas wrestler t-shirt at size 3XL. I remember telling myself, oh, you can't be too bad if you can get an official wrestling t-shirt at size 3XL. I had a few metal t-shirts 3XL, but the double XLs that I had were now becoming literally impossible to wear, you know, but I still hoarded them a little bit. I always wore the same pair of trousers, always did, near enough. I had a pair of work trousers that were 48-inch waist that I always wore, and then I had a pair of like non-work trousers that were 46-inch waist. They were kind of like combats. Funny enough, I never seemed to own a pair of tracksuit bottoms, which might have been made me feel more comfortable, but I never did at that time. But as I say, on December 14th, 2014, that's it. That's fucking it. Now, my partner Mary, my mum and dad, they'd heard me say these kind of things before in years gone by, and I think ultimately they never believed anything that I would say, or they never understood. They hoped that I would change, but my mum was always a good woman. Would never say, "Son, I think you're putting a bit of weight." Quite the opposite to some degree, where she'd be like, "Son, do you want extra spuds or something like that?" She was just a good mum, and she still is, and I owe her so much in the time since that day. But I remember cutting back and everything, all the junk that I ate. Wasn't really calorie counting as such. I didn't know much about that aspect of things, but cut out bread, cut out beer. Actually drank red wine. My father found that very funny that I still got drunkish at weekends. And then I was just sort of living on chicken and beans and rice and fruit and water and things I got there. And that is absolutely true. So anyway, going back to about December 14th, Mary, the boys, and myself were, yeah, we're at my parents' house whenever this happened. And I said, but Terence having the heart attack. It might have been the day before. And my mum says, right, son, you're getting on those scales. We need to see what it is. And I remember I hadn't been on the scales in about 14 years. I gave that some thought this morning when I was thinking in this video. And it was in a friend's house in university in High Wycombe when I last weighed myself in about 1999. And at that time in 1999, I think I remember having a 15.5-inch neck, which is pretty good. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a good sized neck. But I remember weighing in at 15 stone exactly, or maybe 15 stone one, and I was fine. Trust me, at that time I carried that pretty well. I know I did, and but that was the last time I was on the scales. Now, as I prepared to get on the scales on this day for the first time in 15 years, roughly, I kind of wondered what weight I would be. I kind of thought that I might be 25 stone. That's what I thought. My mum, being a country woman, she tends to exaggerate and still does. She said, I think you might be 30 stone. My God, that scared the life out of me. But in my mind, I just had this idea that I might be 25 stone. I got on the scales probably wearing a t-shirt and boxer shorts, I guess, and nothing much more. And I weighed 21 stone and about 9 pounds. So 280, 289, 89, 21, fuck, nearly over 300 pounds. I think I was on weight, something like that. 20 stones, 280. Add another stone, 21 is 294 plus 9. Yeah, it's about 303 pounds. The weight of Hulk Hogan in his prime, believe it or not. But I certainly didn't look good for that. But anyway, the dad came, just something I made up myself. I didn't look at any books. The weight came off pretty steady, as you would expect it to. When you're a big guy, the first week I lost 8 pounds. I thought, fuck me, this is easy. That's over half a stone. And then week 2 was maybe 1 pound. It was a bit disheartening, but I kept at it. I didn't sulk or huff. I remember Mary saying to me, well, do you want to take a week off or take whatever off for Christmas? Because December 14th when I started, 11 days later, it was Christmas Day, and Mary had said to me, do you want extra, all the trimmings for dinner, or do you want a box of Coors Light or something? A good woman that she is and always was. And I said no, and on Christmas Day I really had a boring dinner, but it was in keeping with where I needed to be. I remember Mary, and I give her tribute for this. She'd stood by me through everything, and I think it was probably around January, just the turn of the new year 2015. I remember her looking at me with her big brown eyes and saying, "You're going to do this, aren't you?" And she really gave me the first sign that she knew that I was going to lose this weight. Whether I kept it off or not, she maybe didn't know, but she knew that I was on a road that wasn't going to stop until I got to where I probably needed to be. I think she knew that, but as I say, she didn't know the word running. I certainly know the word running. Cut forward to maybe February 2015, I'd lost probably the guts of 2 stone. It was a stone, and it was, down to under 20 or whatever. Feeling pretty good. Nobody at that point had said anything to me about losing weight. Oh, have you lost weight? That kind of line, you're praying and hoping comes. It was still too early at that point. But then I seen this sign for, God, I'm getting, dare say nobody's really watching this now, 7 minutes long. Jesus, I'm sorry, guys. But so I seen this sign for a run in Altamuscan, and I think I'll do this video in a couple of stages. I'll kind of get to 10 minutes or so and then continue the story on the next night, see if anybody wants to hear more, in my own words. But it was a sign for St. Patrick's Day 2015, a 5-mile road race. Now, I had never considered running. I knew that I was losing weight, but wasn't really doing a lot with that outside of the eating element of things. I wasn't walking very far, and I certainly wasn't running. But I seen this sign, and it's like as if Granny McCann was from Altamuscan, and it's as if she came down and punched me in the heart or something and said, right, that's what you need to do. That is what you need to do. Do that run. And but I was all matter of fact. I was like, I'm going to do that run. Mary is like, are you sure? In a sort of health way, run. You're gonna run this run. And I was like, well, you can't walk it, but I'm going to try and run it. And I think, I remember Mary's face. She was like, oh, yeah, okay, you do that. But I think at that moment she was like, I think maybe this is too soon for the guy. Told my parents. My dad's from Altamuscan. He seemed okay with it. He was like, he's like, oh, go on ahead, son. I think that's a good idea. Mum definitely tried to talk me out of it, but for some reason, I had to do this run. So I remember training a little bit on my own. I remember walking the back roads of Killyclahar or Ballygolly, and I remember one day seeing this tree and saying, right, I'm going to try and run to that tree. It was probably about 100 feet away, and I couldn't get it. Then I tried the next night, couldn't get it. 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 Then one day I got to this tree and I ran the whole thing. No real pace, but it was running, no question about it. And that was one of the greatest memories of my life. So the day before the run, I registered for it. The boy, Mihal, the organizer, he knew who I was. He never said nothing but brilliant words. He was a great supporter and still is. And the following year, they made me number 1 in the shirts and the entry. And I'll get to that in a wee minute or in the next video. But that was a whole year later. But in this day, it was brilliant. And he said to me, "What size t-shirt do you want?" I says double XL. He said, "We don't have double XL. We have just XLs." I was like, "Okay, I'll try it on." Didn't fit very well. It was a bit big for it, but I wore it, and I lined up for that race. And I remember vividly. I'd lost 3 stone by the time the race came. I thought I was feeling pretty good. Still 18 stone or something like that. And lining up for the race. I seen the photographers just beyond the start line as they always have been, and I thought to myself, "Crick, yeah, I'd love to be in the paper." You know, I wasn't shy. So I basically stood beside the African elites who fucking do this thing in 25 minutes, and the race started, and everyone ran like a bullet. And I ran like a bullet too, but in the end, about a minute into the run, I had to jump into the ditch, or otherwise I was going to be ran over, and because I just was out of puff. I remember that same day, my dad had a vintage rally run in Oma, and he had a wee blue van out, and he said, right, I might be driving around that road. I might see you that day. I might see you, son. God, nothing was more of an inspiration than hopefully my dad seeing me running. I ran that race in a beanie hat, even though it was March. I wore tracksuit bottoms. I wore a pair of gutties that had about 8 years. I knew nothing about running merchandise, nothing. So I ran, I walked a bit, I crawled a bit, I ran a bit, walked, I crawled, I ran, and I ran here and there. And I remember crying. Very few people know this part. I remember crying because my dad overtook me in the van, beeping the horn, like full of pride. But I was fucking walking up a hill. Fair enough, hills are hard anyway. But I remember the pain of that. I was really devastated. And I see my dad then later, and I said to him, Daddy, I didn't walk that whole thing. And he goes, no, he says, son, he says, I know you didn't because I seen you running from a distance. And that was a good pat on the back. But to cut to the end of that day, and this is going to be the end of the video one of this journey. God, I didn't realize it would take me this time to talk gibberish, but somebody one day might watch this, and I will put more parts up. But anyway, at the end of that very race, at 5 miles in Altamuscan, it's the toughest run in the north. It still is. I can do it quicker now, but I'll get to that later on. I can do it quicker now, but I did it that day in 1 hour, 5 minutes and 55 seconds, which is about a 13-minute mile. Not too bad at all when I think about it now. It's pretty decent, but at the time, maybe a wee bit disappointed, but there was people still there at the end. There was kids cheering me on. There's a photograph of me at the finish line, and Michael, the commentator, or the organizer, says, I'm coming in now, Sean Paul McCann, well done. Nobody laughed. Nobody rolled over and pointed at me. Far from it. The running community is not like that. Never will be. And I remember, I can't mind who it was that I saw at the finish line. It could have been Davy Mullen. It could have been Sinead, my cousin. But I remember vividly, and unfortunately Mary wasn't there that day. She took the boys into town. I know she would have loved to have been, but she was there at the second race, and I'll get to that tomorrow's video. But I remember vividly me saying the words that defined everything about my running journey, the very famous words to me as I go into the next race. I could have easily have went, never again. I could easily have went, fuck this, fuck that, never am I running again. And I think I still would have lost the weight, but I don't think I would have kept it off without the running. And that part one of this video very much is just a start of it all. And I'll get to where I am now in the next couple of episodes. Goodness, these probably are episodes, a bit like a blogger's videos. But this is video number 1. I think I've got 1 subscriber now as well in my wee page. Never had one before, so he might watch it or she. And it's good to tell the story, I think, and I hope that as the videos unfold, maybe other people hear about it and watch it, that they think, fuck me, I could do this too. You know, this is a journey of a guy that was absolutely dying and didn't know it, was comfortable in life. And I might touch on that in the next video as well. I was comfortable. I wasn't miserable as a big guy. I really wasn't. But I decided to lose weight because I wanted to be here for the boys, for Mary, for my parents. I wanted to make the boys proud. I wasn't adding much value to my life, to our life, and to their life, I think. And Mary took me as I was, I should say. She never asked me to change. And I'll definitely focus a wee bit on Mary as well in videos to come, because the amount of crap she's had to go through in this running world of mine, which has negative effects as well in terms of OCD and the training and the moods that I can have if I haven't run, or if I haven't run a race well. And sometimes I'll say to myself before a race, I don't really care what time I get here today, and I can see Mary's face going, oh fuck, he's going to say that, and then he'll do it in 5 minutes slower than he did last year, and he'll lose his fucking head. There is a bit of that too, and I'll touch on all that there too. So we're near 15 minutes now. There ain't no one alive going to watch all this. I'm not even sure I will, but this is part 1. It's a start, and I'll continue on tomorrow night.